Literacy Strategies Professional Development. Today we'll be discussing two literature-based activities. They are book trailers and electronic illustrated versions of text. Let's first talk about book trailers and how to integrate literacy with a book trailer. It is always best to begin with an example. The examples that I use are professional book trailers to start off with. I feel that it's important for our students to have a good model of what a book trailer should incorporate with all of the story elements that it has. The first one that we're going to watch was actually created by the author himself, Ransom Riggs. It was his very first book trailer, and it was on his very first book that he wrote, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. As you watch this, you will see how this is an excellent model for the students to follow after of what a good book trailer should entail.
There. You ready for bed now?
No. Tell me a story.
You want to hear about the children? Okay. Once upon a time, on an island, on the other side of the world, there lived some very peculiar children. They all lived together in a big old house. It was an enchanted place where no one could find them. The sun shone every day. They were so happy.
What were they like?
They were not like other people. They could do amazing things.
Like what?
Well, let's see here. There was a little boy who you couldn't see at all unless he was wearing clothes. And another one who could hold fire in her bare hands as if it was nothing. There was a pair of sisters who could talk to each other without ever saying a word. And a girl who could walk without her feet even touching the ground. She was so light, they had to tie a string round her middle to keep her from floating away. And they were all watched over by a wise old bird.
Did they have to stay there?
Yes, they did. Because they were hiding.
Hiding from what? Grandpa, when will you tell me the rest?
One day.
So as you can see from those two examples, they are excellent models for the students to follow after. So let's talk about why we use a book trailer for teaching a literature-based activity. We'll talk about what students are like in the 21st century. We'll talk about the benefits of using a book trailer. And then we'll end with one of the student examples of a book trailer. Book trailers are often referred to as a new book report. Instead of paper and pencil, now the students are able to use technology to create these book trailers. Students are already engaging in video technology in their everyday lives, so creating book trailers after they read a book allows active learning with a literature-based activity. Studies also show that students want to collaborate. They want to work with each other and work in teams and choose who their partners are. Therefore, why not let them collaborate to create a book trailer at the end of reading a book to show understanding of story elements? A book trailer, it should set up the scenario, it should introduce the characters, it should show what the problem is, and it definitely should leave the viewer wanting more. When students begin with their book trailer, they'll use storyboards for planning and for discussion with their collaboration team. The teacher will be facilitating throughout the project. So the students will be asking each other these questions, and as the teachers, as the facilitator, can also be asking the same questions, like the author's purpose. What do you want the reader to walk away with? When you're creating that book trailer, what should your reader want when you are done with it? Another discussion that they will have with their storyboard is characters. How will you introduce the characters in your book trailer? At what point of view will you choose when you're creating your book trailer? Those are always really good discussions that the kids have. Problems. What are the characters trying to solve? At this point, they should learn that the problems move the story along. Are there cliffhangers? What is the climax? All of those should be on their storyboards. Summary. What are the important elements? Those are benefits when you are able to have the students create their own book trailers after they read a book as a class. The following is an example of a student who created a book trailer. Now let's talk a little bit about some other extension activities you can add on after the students have created their book trailers. Just to give you a couple ideas, students can present book trailers to the class. You can pop some popcorn, have everybody watch their book trailers. Or you can have the students present a book trailer and then lead the discussion with the rest of the class. You might want to discuss the theme, the setting, the problem, the solutions, maybe the plot, why they chose what they chose. Give them a chance to not only present their book trailers, but talk about it. Book trailers can also be posted on the school's media account. So not only are they allowing their book trailers to be viewed by other students, not only in their building, but across the globe. You can also use that for a writing extension. Have the students write the blurbs for their postings and the importance of how to utilize a book trailer after reading a book. You can have the students compare two book trailers if they did it all on the same book because you read the book as a whole class. And then you can determine what was similar and what was different. You can even have them discuss why you think that they chose that. Have a little debate going on between the two teams and their book trailers. Those are some of the ideas that you could use at an extension after you have had the students create their book trailers. Now let's talk about another literature-based activity called electronic versions. And this will help when you're working on historical works, which the students aren't always as familiar with historical works. And this idea came from Monica Ettinger. It was in our book that we had, Literature and the Young Adult Reader by Bond. This activity, the students will create an electronic version of an existing historical work, and they will be able to take that text from there and be able to create their own illustrations. And after they've created their illustrations, they can put them all together, and they will actually be able to add text from that historical work. An example of how this could work is if you are using the historical text Call of the Wild by Jack London. It is on the public domain. That'd be a great extension for you to be able to teach about public domain books and copyright laws. And that would be a great add-on for this lesson when you're doing your historical text. One, they could read the book as a read aloud or however you choose to try to teach this book for student learning. Then the students would actually be able to take an electronic copy. They would get that from the online books page website. It has thousands and thousands of variety of books. On this one, we were doing it for Call of the Wild. The students could then choose a chapter from that book. They would create illustrations that go right along with that chapter and be able to add the text directly from the book. And then they would be creating a new electronic version of the story Call of the Wild, whether it's different chapters. They could put all of the chapters together if you had your students create ones for each chapter, or if you had them all pick the same chapter, then again, you could compare and contrast between the different versions, the illustrations, why things were chosen. Both of these activities, the book trailers and the electronic versions, are great literature-based activities for student learning in the 21st century. Let's talk about what would come up next. Here's a follow-up activity. Think of a book that you would want your students to read next year. Ask yourself, how could I use book trailers or electronic illustration version activities with this book? The second activity would be researching one book trailer that's already produced from a student on the internet. Take the time to evaluate the book trailer as the teacher. Determine what story elements you think the student understood and is evident in the book trailer. Then you will post your response to both questions on Blackboard. These are the references that I used to create this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in our discussion board. Thank you.